What did your crush do that absolutely killed your interest? Turned out to be the person eating everyone else's food from the break room fridge. My sandwich. His sister actually approached me and let me know that he was once arrested for locking their other pregnant sister in their basement, went on a coke binge while she desperately tried to get out, and went outside to beat their unsuspecting neighbor's van with a golf club. That was a big ol' nope. Sister's a legend. BTW edit. Thank you all for the cake day messages. Told me that she didn't like me back anymore, but maybe if I waited long enough she would like me like that again. Edit. She told me that I had gotten more critical lately and I changed. So she wanted me to change back before she would be with me. Ugh, I hate this. You're not an airport. You don't get to put people in holding patterns. She invited me over to her place, not as a date thing, but just to hang out as friends. Her house was absolutely filthy and the glad of coke she gave me had a hair in it. She was really cute, had a great personality, and was a genuinely nice person. But as soon as I saw catches on the floor near the front door and just dirty everything, my crush disappeared, and I left in a hurry. Yeah, haha, there's messy and then there's this. She slept with my dad. That has to be the shortest answer, and somehow still the biggest red flag. Kept arranging times to talk and whatnot, then always forgot, or was not available. I've had the same thing happen to me. She would always text me and ask if I could chat at a certain time. Of course I would agree. Then when I called she would have her phone off or only answer 5% of the time. I really liked her too, so I was just like WTF. If you say you want to talk at so and so time, you know, answering the phone might help. Wanted to look through my phone on our first date to make sure I wasn't talking to anyone else. That was a last date. Edit. It kind of surprises me some people think I'm a man and the other party was a woman. It's the other way around. Toxic stuff nonetheless. It worries me how sometimes you only need to scratch a little deeper under the surface of a normal person and you get to stuff like this. At least you didn't invest time or emotions into it. We worked together, and as I got to know him more I learned he talked badly about everyone. Nurses that are amazing he'd belittle, talk about how certain people don't know what they're doing because they asked for an ultrasound forth as they were struggling getting a vein on a heroin addict. The paramedics were worthless, doctors don't know what they're doing, who he thought was hooking up, and it completely turned me off. He's in his early 40s and into gossip more than my teenage daughter. Ah yes, the know-it-all tech who finished half of medic school. Said she was stirring up a group for LGBT youth. I asked her why, and then realized I had been barking up the wrong tree. I'm dumb, she's a lesbian. He picked me up for our first date and his car was disgusting. Not talking a few trash items, the entire backseat and floorboard was completely covered in piled up trash, even up front. I had to step on empty McDonald's bags, old soda bottles, wrappers etc to even get in. And all he said was, just move it around with your feet. No sorry or anything. Made me feel like trash too. Like dang, couldn't even clean up a little? But you're the Goblin Queen? Talked non-stop about himself and his accomplishments, and never asked me one question about myself. Experienced this, but he would ask me questions about myself, and after one line from me, would take over the conversation and somehow direct the spotlight from my answer back onto himself, almost competitively. She asked me if I was good with kids, because she was pregnant with her ex and that's not good with kids. It was the first date. No way dude. What was your response? We played Monopoly. That game brings out the absolute worst in people. Once while playing Monopoly, we had lost some of the pieces, so we had to use Cluedo pieces instead. Long story short, I won and my opponent got angry and stabbed me in the hand with a tiny dagger. Yee, I don't get washing. I just don't really like taking a shower or a bath or anything. I can smell this quote. Well, it turns out he wasn't interested in girls, so I knew I had to kill my feelings or feel stupid for keeping them. At least you got to know about it. It's way better than being in the dark. Removed. It's better than keeping you as a dormant mate. She detested cats and insisted that I give up my furry buddy before she'd move in with me. It wasn't that she was allergic to cats. She issued the ultimatum because, according to her, my cat received too much of my time and affection, and she wasn't going to compete. LMAO, imagine laying awake at night knowing you lost to a cat. Bullied the quiet kid in our class. What a jerk. We were teenagers. He lived in a different province, and we used to chat on Skype. He wanted me to think he was a badder or something, and would always talk about his drug use. He ended up faking a heroin overdose when we were on chat together. I was hysterically crying and freaking out thinking I was watching someone dying and was trying to figure out how to call 911 in another province when he snapped out of it and told me he was actually okay. I didn't talk to him much after that. Got him. What a loser. Told me he liked dating broken girls so he could fix them. See ya later, boner. I had an ex tell me that. She said that she liked dating guys with issues to try and fix them. Meanwhile she had a ton of issues. Huge crush on a fellow uni student. I was invited over for what I expected to be a platonic study date, but hey, any time spent is better than just being alone, or so I thought. Got there and found another student from class also. Okay, study group. Turns out her mom and her set us up for a full press MLM pitch. Video, literature, the works. I stayed a bit not to be rude, excused myself shortly, and only talked to her in class, just in passing from then on. Huge letdown. Edit. MLM means multi-level marketing, aka pyramid scheme. Signing up to both buy and sell something, while recruiting others to sell also. You get a percent of all of your recruit sales also. All the percentages basically flow upward, so the only way to make any significant money is to be high in the tree, towards the top of the pyramid. It's all bullshit, basically. That is probably the most insane thing I could imagine. You know damn well she's not keeping friends after that. Threw my $2,000 laptop through my new big screen TV. What happened after that? This was years ago, on a first date. Tried to convince me to quit my job and put all my savings into gold bars, then demanded I'll let him read my tarot cards to see if we'd be a good fit. Nope. Another controlling type. I attempted to get through a horror movie together, and he kept letting the movie run then rewinding the movie so that the horror never came. He pretended to be scared and would whine about the scare that was coming. I guess he thought this was a cute gesture and would refuse to continue. It dragged a 5-minute scene into a 45-minute production of his own. Oh, but I'm scared. No, I don't want to. This is terrifying. This was a guy who told me that he loved horror movies. He was full of really weird contradictions, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Edit. Holy cow, this really blew up. Thanks for confirming I'm not insane for being annoyed with his actions. Thanks for the comments, a lot of them were hilarious. There were a lot of questions, so I'll try to answer some of them. What was the movie? It was an older J-horror movie called Kutchesake Honor. I think the English title was something like The Carved Mouth Woman. You mentioned he fast forwarded, do you mean rewound? Nope, I do mean fast forwarded. He would rewind, then fast forward to get to the beginning of the scene, and then pause it, and whine about how it was going to be scary. He would also study the paused scene and look at clues to determine what the scare was going to be. Did you comfort/hug him? It was maybe the second time we'd hung out together, so even though I was interested in him, it was too early to say we were dating, and I was pretty shy and kind of reserved, so no hugging would have happened, even if it all had gone well. What were you doing during the 45 minutes? I remember thinking, is he for real? Then thought that somehow maybe he was trying to tease me. He's a man of a lot of contradictions. So I played along for a while. By the time 15 minutes passed, I'm sure I was sighing audibly. I suggested that we stop and maybe watch something else. He refused. Close to the 30-minute mark I think I snapped and said words to the effect of, come on, it's probably not that bad. Let's just go through it and continue the movie. Don't waste time. He laughed and kept up the one-man show of I'm a sensitive man, and I'm not afraid to show it. I gave up and just started looking through my phone, because this was such a waste of time, and finally I think he realized he'd gone too far and let the scene play out. Did you end up finishing the movie? Nope, because he tried the same thing at the next scary part, and I made my excuses and got out of there. Was he a child? Nope. Fully grown male of legal age. Why didn't you just stab him? I considered it, but I wasn't carrying my Dexter kill room equipment and the blood would have been too messy. Just kidding. He was tall, and I'm pretty short. Probably wouldn't have ended well for me. Did you let him know why you didn't want to see him again? Nope, I never told him that this was the defining moment in which I lost interest. He was also kind of controlling and had a number of really weird quirks that I won't bore my fellow redditors with. Basically we just didn't talk as much after that, and that was that. What the duck did I just read? So just before a scare he'd keep rewinding over and over saying he's too scared of what's coming up. Duck that guy. I hate people talking, never mind rewinding constantly. Light the back fence of the school on fire to impress a mate. Edit. Should add that he did it whilst high. Weed is not legal here in Australia yet. Arson does tend to be a deal breaker. I was 21 and in college. He was a classmate of mine. He seemed so charming and was easy on the eyes. One day I overheard him talking to his friends about how he doesn't date engineer women because math is for men. Edit. Some people are missing the point here. It's not that he said he wouldn't want to date an engineer that bothered me. It's that he said that women aren't meant for math. Sounds like a buddy of mine. Well, not entirely. He doesn't believe the last part about math being for men, but he wouldn't date someone who studies engineering since he is also in the field. Talked shiz about every woman in his life. Should have seen the red flags earlier. Didn't realize until later that he probably did the same to me. Apparently having an opinion about anything and speaking for yourself isn't a very ladylike thing to do. He sounds totally not insecure. Dude was the perfect epitome of the term douchebag. He used to be nice to people only to gain their trust and then betray them. He was attractive though, and a smooth talker as well. We started talking, became friends, and I developed a crush on him. Unfortunately, I never knew then what type of double-headed snake he was. Then on one day I witnessed him throwing his best friend under the bus just to save his reputation. Completely lost interest, cut ties with him, and he gave no cheers about it. Only then did I realize how toxic people can be sometimes. Edit. Grammar. English isn't my first language, so when I read one day I witnessed him throwing his best friend under a bus, my brain didn't immediately register that it was a saying. I thought he actually murdered his friend. She got blackout drunk at a party and violently shat her pants. The smell alone completely turned me off of any interest I had. Violently LMAO. Being rude to the waiter and complain that food is taking too long during dinner rush hour. I work in the industry for a year. It's not easy when being slammed during rush. Kicked a dog. Edit. I don't understand any of the references in the comments. Ugh. I also don't like this person. On your behalf. Littered. That's so trashy. Told me I wasn't attractive and that she could never possibly like me. Game over. Still better than keeping you around though. Girl in car behind him honked when the light turned green. He got out of the car and began screaming and banging on her windshield. That's when I knew he was a psycho and I needed to get out of that relationship. Took me a destroyed home and 2 restraining orders later, but we've been broken up for 3 years now. Gosh, sorry to hear that, but glad that you've seen the issue and got out of it. Stole from a homeless person. We were walking together downtown and she saw a bucket of coins in front of a pharmacy. She just scooped it all up and kept walking. Guy comes out as she's 20 feet away or so and yells at her. She keeps moving. I stood there and just gave him a $20 and didn't hang out with her anymore. We were 14 and 15. It was very nice of you to give him money. I can't imagine why someone would steal from a homeless person. We were going on a date, and when we were just next to the cinema she found her friend and she went with her instead. She probably told her friend to come to have an excuse to leave your date mate / told me he was only being nice to me because he was interested in a friend of mine. I see his Facebook posts now. He is dumber than a box of rocks on a treadmill. I'm not sure why the box of rocks on the treadmill is dumber than the box of rocks not on a treadmill, but I accept the metaphor. Too critical about every word I uttered under the name of sarcasm. Oh yeah, the click it's a joke, so you can't get mad type or line. She asked if things didn't work out, if I would mind if she went out with my roommate. I said I couldn't possibly do that to him and left. Quick, we're gonna need an ambulance for this burn. Dumped me after 9 months because she wasn't ready for a serious relationship. Got into a relationship the next day and was married within 5 months. Not ready for a serious relationship is just the roundabout way of saying sorry, I'm not interested in you anymore. Edit. Okay, so somehow this comment blew the duck up, and I'm getting some valid criticism of how I stated this. I did not mean that this is the case all the time. Different relationships all have different dynamics and people sometimes realize they're in way too deep or life kicks you in the balls and you need to recover on your own time before dragging someone else down. Don't take this as gospel, it's just the ranting of a jaded soul. I'll kiss you, but I'd never date you. FKU. I had a girl who wanted to move in with me and start a physical relationship. I might have been interested if she weren't moving so fast and if she hadn't already had a boyfriend at the time. The final nail in that already well fastened coffin was when she said the sex would only be physical and that she wasn't looking for an emotional connection at all. I had been secretly in love with her for 5 years and that completely destroyed me. Treated me like chiz for being the only female in our paintball team. He said that women belong to kitchen, not battlefield. Edit. I never, though the worst memory of my life will bring me the most karma out of everything I've ever posted. Thanks. I kinda hope he has read it and find it now. Edit 2. Guys, I made a mistake. He didn't say battlefield. We are Polish. He said something that cannot be translated perfectly, so I just captured the idea. The word battlefield is mine. I didn't know how to call it in English. Now I know it's a field. Sorry. Battlefield lol. There was a girl in college who was super hot until I saw her share a lollipop with her dog. Not like let him have the last lick or two. No, she'd hold it for a while then hold it out to let the dog lick it for a bit then put it back in her mouth. Ducking gross. Yeah, that would definitely kill a crush. Bragged about drinking and driving. He told me that he and his friends have a nothing under 100 club where they drink and then drive on the interstate going 100+ miles per hour and have to send a full-length Snapchat video of the speedometer to each other. 2 of my friends had been killed by a drunk driver 3 months prior. Oh god, that's awful. Deleted. I recently went through the exact same thing. Had been single for a little over half a year and met this really sweet girl who was a carriage driver to her grandparents. Her life wasn't easy, but she seemed like the most empathetic and giving human being in the world, and I was enjoying getting to know her. But the more we got to know each other, the more erratic the calls would get. 4 AM FaceTime calls because her grandpa was sitting on the toilet, unable to poop, and she was bored. And if I didn't answer, she'd call 5 more times and then text really. And when I'd kindly explain that I was sorry I wasn't there for her, I understood she probably felt alone and frustrated, but I was sound asleep. She literally didn't remember the 6 calls and passive-aggressive messages. I finally cut things off with her before they even got going, and she has spent the past 2 weeks just blowing up my phone with the most incoherent rants about how she suffers from alcoholism and I owe her another chance. I legit feel bad. I think she was excited about the prospect of getting to know somebody who could provide her the distraction from her current situation, and she's honestly devastated by the loss of that possibility. But I think that was going down a very unhealthy road and I need to be able to look out for myself. Still sucks though. Told me that smart girls are ugly and dumb girls are beautiful, so he'd rather date a dumb girl and wouldn't date me because I'm smart. Edit. Wow. This is the most upvotes I've gotten. Thanks guys. 3 Edit 2. Thanks kind stranger for the award. It's my first award. Thank you very much. That's dodging a bullet right there. In college, I was crazy about a girl named Megan. She was maybe 2 years younger than me, blonde, life of the party type gal. Took her to dinner and chatted her up about her life. got to talking about past so's, and realized she had very little experience with meaningful, loving relationships. Romantically, it seemed she was on autopilot. In fact, the more we talked, the more obvious it became that she wasn't ready to love anyone but herself, which, yeah, no, good for her. Self-love and self-discovery are kind of big parts of going away to college and growing up, but I realized in that moment that what I wanted versus what she wanted were miles apart. It was a crystallizing moment, and I felt the distance between us widen and watched her shrink away. Never asked her out again, and she never asked why. Either she felt it too, or autopilot just kicked in. Or she just wasn't interested. This is well written. I can definitely relate to have the moment crystallize and then immediately feel the separation begin to happen, almost like you're dissociating. Smoked. I know it's shallow and it makes me kind of rick, I'm aware, but I seriously can't stand the smell of cigarette smoke. My brother was just starting to date a woman. She came by his place to meet him and saw a pack of cigarettes on the counter. "Oh, you smoke?" "I used to, but I quit." Technically he was telling the truth. He just didn't mention he had quit, like right then and there, because he realized she wouldn't date a smoker. They've been married over a decade now. He hasn't smoked since. Sorry for my bad English, but here is my story. I had a crush on Solone. Let's call her Amanda. For 3 years I tried to get with her. Amanda used me if she needed attention, and I was cool with that. One night Amanda was ringing my doorbell at 2 AM. It was obvious that Amanda was drunk, and I let her in so we could talk. After a few minutes she said she wants me to FCK her. I told her that I never sleep with someone who's drunk, but we could do it when she is sober. She got angry and the insults came flying. She stormed out of my house, got in her car, backed it up into my motorcycle and drove away. I never talked to her again after that night. Edit. Let me answer a few questions. 1. Did you call the police? When this all happened I was in shock and didn't even think about calling the police. I texted her parents and explained the situation. I didn't report her because her parents offered to pay for the damage. 2. Was your motorcycle damaged? Yes. I don't know the words in English for what was damaged, but the cost to fix it was about $2,000. She needed attention. Amanda was drunk. She wants me to F/CK her. Stormed out of my house, got in her car, backed it up into my motorcycle. All the red flags you needed to end the crush. My 18-year-old self thought it would be cute to invite him to a Christmas parade, but this dude had the audacity to ask me why I thought he would ever be interested in someone like me. Edit. Yay, my first 3k. I wish I could take you all to a Christmas parade. Also, I met my boyfriend just over a year ago, and it has been the most wonderful surprise of my life. I just physically cringed. This would devastate me. Placed the tip on the table before we'd received service, before using it as a threat. Real ugly. Like this $20 tip stays here if you keep my water refilled. Revealed his list of conquests. Not even my brother knows how many women I've slept with. Then he offered to take my virginity in the back of his pickup truck. iPod. He couldn't have thought he was special for offering to take your virginity? Did you say thanks for the same offer as every other man since I was 15? A pickup truck at that. Did he entice you with a seductive improvement of a liner for the bed of the truck? Or did he make a stupid joke about it being a bed? I can hear this conversation and I sympathize with you in solidarity of suffering many of my own. Didn't wash his hands after using the bathroom. Like Carlin said, if I got to wash my hands after touching own Rick, I might as well just go ahead and wash my Rick. Wouldn't that be fun? A bunch of guys crowded around the hand dryers trying to blow dry their Ricks. I'm just playing. I wash them. This was in preschool. But she put relish on her hot dog. Game over. I've since learned to love relish and always wonder what could have been. Important question. Was the relish still or sweet? Kissed me and then, after he pulled away, told me he has a girlfriend. The old razzle dazzle? He talked about how he and his friends used to abuse farm cats. They talked about one that was buried and then run over. I did a quick 180 and absolutely hated him. Edit, little late now, but thank you everyone for the upvotes. Unfortunately I only heard about the abuse when he was talking to someone else, and it wasn't a recent thing. Think high school, and at this point he was a few years into college. I also live in Farmtown, USA, so this really isn't an uncommon thing, and I doubt the cops would do anything. I'm glad to see so many caring people on here, though. Cats don't get as much love in my community as they should. Our three are here living in spoiled royalty, and my dad hates it. Well, that's definitely serial killer territory. She offered to drive and picked me up in her car because we had plans to go out to dinner and get to know each other better. I realized after about 20 minutes she was not driving to the restaurant and instead stopped at a gas station to get into someone else's car and buy drugs. Basically made me accessory to a drug deal under false pretenses. Believe it or not, this has sort of happened to me. The guy was driving us in my car and conducted a deal in a back streets of an industrial estate close to where I lived. I was baffled. I had big self-esteem issues, and we had been fooling around, and I just didn't even care about anything he did up till that point. I was so angry he had literally used my car to commit a crime. Had a crush on this girl back in high school. She seemed like a sweet girl. After she rejected me, I let it go, but still was interested in maintaining some sort of friendship. Found out she was actually pretty toxic behind my back. She made fun of me for a lot of things that really didn't matter, like hand motions while talking, and I just lost interest in her entirely, even in a friendship. This guy's penis is way too big. Like disgustingly big. Lol. He probably can't even find a pair of shorts long enough to conceal it. What a loser. Oh, and he moves his hands around a lot when talking. Basically shut me down and made it clear to me that I was being the typical nice guy cliche. This is back when I was about 20. After a couple of days of sulking, I started examining my behavior and realized she was absolutely right. Glad it happened. My ideas of how a relationship should work were entirely twisted at the time. I got my chiz together shortly after, addressed my stupid and entitled behavior, worked on myself, mentally and physically, and eventually met an amazing woman who is now my wife. Scary to look back and think how close I got to becoming one of those incel neckbed types. You should thank that lady as well. Filmed me and made Snapchat stories of it, all while I was in an argument with somebody from our neighborhoods. Just know, I'm so kind to you. Why would you do that? Immediately blocked her on WhatsApp and unfollowed everywhere. Edit, somebody commented I would not mind. She clearly did not ask me for permission. It was an argument where I was being yelled at for parking mistake. If she enjoys somebody confronting me for an unintentional error, I don't think so she is worth it. Thanks for the upvotes. I hate it so much that some of my friends post about everything on Snapchat when we hang out. I absolutely hate it. She started to talk, and I realized she's dumb. The worst is when they think they are super wise yet are the dumbest people on the planet. Had a girl try to woo me with her smarts, but all the smart things she was the either Snapchat clickbait or stuff from rom-coms. That the main girl is smart and quirky. She just came off as a pretentious dumber. Asked if I wanted a drink of her Coke. I said yes and took one. Then she laughed and haha, you have my cold now. Did you actually catch a cold after that or not? She said I smile too much. Duck you. I smile when I want to. I try to find joy. He told me he hadn't read a single book in his life. That's either really impressive or really sad. He didn't believe in dinosaurs. One of those super religious types, and someone got into a conversation with him about dinosaurs, and he was absolutely convinced that dinosaur bones were put there by the devil to trick us. As a firm lover of dinosaurs, as soon as I heard that, any and all attraction disappeared. Edit, this post got a bit bigger than I ever expected, and the comments are cracking me up. I love dinosaurs, and doodling them, so much that I made a little doodle to celebrate. Thank you all. Started gaming with him, and learned that he threw tantrums worthy of a toddler when losing matches. My fianc is kind of like this. He's the most calm and collected person I know. In 4 years, I've never seen him lose his temper. But goddamn, when he's gaming it's like a whole different person. In a group text with a ton of our mutual friends he ignited an argument about lockdown and ended it with sorry I just like arguing, and that didn't pass the vibe check. Arguing for no reason. Likely you'll see that too if you pursued. Good that you're out of it. Chewed with her mouth open on our first date. I never thought something like that could kill my interest so rapidly. Haven't dated in 24 years but mine treated a waiter like cheese. Nope. I also haven't been on a date in 21 years. I also happen to be 21 by pure coincidence. Used a racial slur. Holocaust denial. He tried to discreetly take photos of my feet. Nothing against people who are into that, but the way he was going about it was super creepy. Yikes. We were in the process of getting together. She had called over and we spent an afternoon watching movies and sitting close together. By about 8 in the evening she was considering staying later and I was casually encouraging her. She asked if she could take a shower and I was like yeah, sure of course. Glad that the bathroom was clean and tidy and I had fresh towels. Anyway, about 4 minutes later she calls me saying she needs help with the shower and I give her a moment to get a towel around herself and knock on the bathroom door. She opens it completely naked and shows me that she's having trouble with the shower controls. So I'm kinda unsure whether to make the move or start with the control, so I go with the flow and show her this is hot and cold, this is pressure, this is rainforest, and this is power jets. In the 5 seconds it takes me to do this, she has sat on the toilet, which is kinda a weird thing because I need to be able to make the next move. And she's sitting on the toilet, naked, with the lid up, looking all disinterested. I'm thinking I've screwed it up when suddenly, kersplosh, and she takes a dump right in front of me, and then another one. I was just I'll leave you to it. Item I head out. She brought a friend to dinner with us, which was okay, I didn't mind. Then they both shoplifted afterward, while I was on the other side of the store. Told her I didn't date thieves, and she broke down apologizing. Then they both shoplifted afterward, while I was on the other side of the store. My Bill's GF took him shopping, and, unbeknownst to him, according to him, was shoplifting. The only reasons I believe him are that he has never done anything like that, and B, he's a sweet guy but just a little bit dim/not the sharpest tool in the shed, so I can actually see him being oblivious. He's kind of oblivious to most things and a very go with the flow kind of person, and kind of gullible. They both got arrested on their way out of the store. That's when I knew I did not like her. It wasn't her first offense. He ended up marrying her. The family is not pleased. I feel bad. She's kind of mean to him, and he just does what she says. I do not get along with her because I'm the only one in the family who will not put up with it. She's super rude and I will call her out, while my very sweet in-laws just tend to ignore it to keep the peace. My husband thinks it's hilarious how much she hates my guts. She physically shushed me in a group with her finger on my lips while I was singing along with my friends to a cover band. Duck that. I saw a bit of a tattoo under his shirt, so naturally I asked him what it was. It's an eagle. Wow, that's cool. He proceeded to lift up his shirt. Turned out that it wasn't a cool/cheesy eagle in the wind or something. It was the logger type one with its head completely turned to the side, wings sprung out on either side, full on Nazi symbol on his chest. I was taken aback, but decided to give him the benefit of the doubt and asked him some more political stuff. Yeah, no doubt there. He was a homophobic, foreigners hating rig. I did not thank the friend who set us up on this blind date. Edit. Just to clarify, it wasn't a small or even medium tattoo. It took over all of his left pectoral, just ugly thick black lines, nothing stylized. If you want to celebrate your German heritage, cool, go for it. But I think there might be better ways to do it, because having such a big statement tattooed on your body is quite unambiguous right off the bat. I had a similar experience. Dated a guy for about a month until I found out him and his family were all neo-Nazis. Looking back, the shaved head and Doc Martens shoulder tipped me off, but I was 16 at the time. Funniest part is that we're both Hispanic. Deleted. Thanks, I'm cured. This was in college. We were acquaintances and had a few clees together. He was cute, funny, and I totally had a crush on him. He asked me out to dinner and a movie. At the restaurant he ordered the most expensive things on the menu. Apps, drinks, lobster, and even dessert. When the bill came he said, "You got this, right?" I was so embarrassed I paid. Then I said I'd skip the movie because I wasn't feeling well, and he asked me to give him $20 for gas and for wasting his time. I didn't and just left. Ugh. After that he couldn't seem to understand why I didn't want to go out with him again. Holy duckle mayo. She ate a live snail. I was in 6th grade. She might be a Mr. Keth now, pushing the boundaries. Bouncer at a bar I used to go to. I had a mad crush on him. He was beautiful. He was a bit of a tart. Every night some starry-eyed equally beautiful woman would leave with him. Being a bit of a tart was not a deal breaker for me. I was too back then. If not as successful as him, as I'm not a super pretty girl. But one night I guess he left just too late. The hot girls were gone, and he informed me that he was willing to take me home that night. No. Nothing less sexy than that'll do. Big. Being treated like a sure thing, and of course the answer is gonna be yes, because how would someone like me turn down someone like him? Call me a safe bet. I'm betting him not. Oh my. You watched until the end? That's fucking awesome, dude. Thanks for watching.